Hi, I'm Chris Raptus, Raptus Real Estate, episode 60. Greetings. It's about winners and losers and handling those expectations. I find myself today thinking about risk tolerance and weighing up risk. Sometimes we hit a 10x, sometimes we have a client that walks through our door, lists their home straight away, sells the home straight away, and our return on investment is 10x because it was a quick sale, it was an easy sale, everything worked smoothly, it was an unconditional sale, it was a 30-day settlement, home was handed over in a clean fashion, everyone's happy, purchaser and seller. Not every transaction, is like that. And you get winners and you get losers, unfortunately, in business, right? So it's about winners and losers, and it's about risk tolerance. I think they're the two important factors for today's video. And everyone has to weigh up their risk tolerance, right? If you're putting money on black and it's come up 3 times in a row black, there is that possibility that it's going to go red. Right? You can't be delusional and think that it's not. It may not, right? But you have to sum up that risk. And I think, and I'm just venting with you guys, my challenge at the moment is vendors' expectations, meeting those expectations and bridging the gap from the buyers, because there's been a bit of bearish, information that has come out, which I feel has dampened the market a little bit, right? Like there's bullshit articles yesterday saying properties are going to come down by 100 grand. It doesn't help. It doesn't help that people are so easily influenced by the media. And what it comes down to, I think, of 20 years of being in property and being in business is what you think doesn't always end up being true. I think that we're very, very smart as human beings, as a general nature. But, if you knew that Warren Buffett, like his neighbor, that he offered, 10 grand in Berkshire Hathaway, to invest into his company. And if you knew what that would be worth today, he knocked that back. So he made that decision to not invest for whatever reason, and we have the data, we have the analytics, people, they will overanalyze everything. But sometimes dumb money, right, can be a smart thing too. Being dumb with your decisions and dumbing things down, right, like Business for Dummies, can actually end up being the smartest decision you make, right? Because I think as human beings, we think we know. Especially in Adelaide, it's a very Adelaide thing. We think we know that person only sells $1 million homes, or we think they know, or people know that that's what happened with that property. There is a story with every transaction, and everyone needs to feel like they're winning. And unfortunately, sometimes there's losers in transactions. Sometimes a buyer will get the better of that purchase. Sometimes they won't. There might be a rezoning, and then all of a sudden the government is buying your property at council valuation, which you just bought it a year ago, and you've potentially lost money on that transaction. So not everyone makes money in property, right? Not everyone makes money in property. However, you are in control of your destiny and the decisions that you make. And sometimes, and even myself as a business owner, when I take on a new client, I have to weigh up my risk tolerance. Do I feel I can help that person? Have I given that client the absolute best? Can I look them in the eye and say, look, this is the best the market was willing to pay. I'm sorry it didn't meet your expectations. I've done my job to the best of my ability. Is there anything that you think that I can do? Because sometimes you just have to walk away if deals don't work out. Not a relationship is going to work out, but being the better person and walking away and holding your head up high with dignity, knowing that you've done the right thing and gave it your 100%, that's okay. So yeah, what I'm trying to say with the episode as we finalize the week, sometimes you think look at me. I picked the Melbourne Cup winner, and you saw my screenshot. I forgot to come back to the bed and add a few zeros. I thought I knew I did that, and I did it. So sometimes you think you know it, but you don't really know. So don't overanalyze everything. Don't assume. Sometimes being dumb and had I added a few zeros, which is what I expected to do, and maybe that day would have turned out better for me. It's okay, because you weigh up your tolerance, your risk. I was prepared to lose that money. And that's all this game is. Life, right? It's a gamble. Everything is a gamble. Walking outside is a gamble. What you put in your food, what you cook is a gamble. It could be poisonous. You don't know, right? But you want to try and minimize your risks, take calculated risks, and you obviously try and make the best decisions that you can with the information that you have. But what I'm saying is sometimes it's either smart money or it's dumb money. And sometimes being dumb, and as the meme goes, like, duh, and investing in something that's so stupid could end up being one of the best decisions you make. And then being smart and thinking that, oh yeah, this is a sure deal, I'm betting on the favorite, it's gonna win, doesn't always end up that way. So it's about managing those risks and those expectations. And that is what I'm finding in the marketplace is, I have to ask myself why I'm being engaged as a real estate agent. And part of that process is to protect the client from themselves and their greed, and managing their expectations. Sometimes I can do that, sometimes I can't. But again, at the end of the day, it's your life, it's your decisions. You have to live and die by the sword, and those decisions will, be the outcome of what it is that it is moving forward. So on that note, sometimes being dumb can be a smart thing. Sometimes it can't. I'll leave that up to you. None of this is financial advice. Do your own research. Have a great weekend. Let's see what joys today will bring. See you later. Bye for now.